interaction. So if I could request all of you to come much closer, it will help, everybody to participate. स्वामी जी आपकी आज्ञा हो तो शुरू करें. Okay. Welcome back to the first session. As I said, the format for the sessions is basically on the panel mode, panel discussion. So the topic is managing water requirements for nature and development. We have a panelist, Paritosh Tyagi, is the former chairman of the Central Pollution Control Board. Then we have Dr. P.K. Jain. Then we have Rajendra Singh. I think everybody knows, and as I said, I will not get into the formalities of, introducing or reading biodatas. Okay, they are all eminent people. They are known in their own way. Okay, then we have Sajal Vohra from WWF and Uday Kelkar. Okay, and they will give their initial remarks. But I think I will request all of you to actively participate, and at the end, we would like to have some kind of consensus. Okay, the issues that we want to really look at is, we have our proposition, the uses of water, okay, should be anterior to nature and ecology. So this priorities we are looking at. What we mean is, so the first place for the water should be for the nature. Then the uses should have sequential priority for water for life, to livelihoods, to developmental activities. And whatever we discuss here has a lot of consequence, in the sense all the sessions are connected one way or the other. And at the end, we are talking about a legislative framework. And all of that may go there in terms of when we define the, what priorities we have. And then there should be institutional arrangement for uses of water based on principles of equity, resource conservation, protection of water resources, and harmonization of water. So at the end, we would like to have your opinion on this, whether this is a desirable way or there is a counterpoint to that, and if there is any modification that is required in these statements, we will definitely consider that. Okay. When we say managing water, okay, for rural and urban, and I outlined in my previous okay, that yes, we need water for our developmental purposes, we need for our uses, but then is it necessary that it is at the cost of the nature? Can we have both together? Can we learn to live on less and less abstraction of water from the nature, okay? And use the technology innovations to make sure that we recycle, reuse water, adopt different appropriate sanitation practices, do not dispose of waste into water bodies, and so on and so forth. Then similarly for the industrial requirement, okay? Say right now we are taking X amount of water and then releasing 0.8x or 0.9x of that water back into this. So do we have to return that water to the industry, to the nature, or I can use it and then I only extract 0.1x of the water, right? So that way we reduce demand. Obviously it is going to cost us, right? The industries are going to say, if I have to treat to that level, it is going to cost us. But then the question is how much, right? If, for example, if I am buying one ream of paper and it costs me, let's say, 100 rupees, if that is going to cost me 105 rupees when I implement this paradigm of reuse and recycle, should we go for that or should we not go for that? And this is what is our idea, is we want to bring in those numbers into, okay? So same thing in recycle, reuse also. I gave you some idea that if we are having the luxury of using toilets, right, how much are we ready to pay? Should we not pay 1.5 rupees per day, okay, or 2 rupees per day? at the cost of, at the other side what we have is polluted Yamuna. If the Yamuna is polluted, then our drinking water, all our groundwater is polluted, and the same water we end up drinking. And then we have health risks. So do we understand these connections properly? Okay, this is what we want to bring in. Similarly, managing water for agriculture and horticulture, right? Can we bring in innovations there? Obviously, when we talk about bringing in technology, bringing in innovation, it costs. Okay, are we prepared for that? Okay, people give argument, if you bring in innovation, where is the investment that is available? Our farmers are very poor, they cannot afford it, right? So this is what we want to do. Other side of that is that, and otherwise we end up having the situation that we have of the rivers as we see today. And as I also said, can we bring in incentives for that? If somebody brings in technology, somebody brings in innovation, can he get credit for saving that much water for the sake of nature and rivers to flow, and in long terms the gains the nation has? So this is what is this thing. So the discussion point that I have kept before the panel is, should water requirements for nature, example environmental flows that we want to maintain in the rivers, have priority over water requirements for development? Should major urban industrial water requirements be made by recycle and reuse practices, thereby reducing freshwater abstraction and pollution? The major question is, yes, everybody will agree on that, but the counterpoint to that is, can the municipalities and industries afford this, right? So this is what is the thing that we need to talk about. We also need to look at leaving water for nature. Is the water requirement for nature and development, are they competitive? Are they complementary? Are they helpful to each other? In other words, if I leave water for nature, ultimately it helps for my own development or sustained development, right? So are they competitive? Are they complementary? Are they helpful? And on these points, I would like the panelists and all of you to depend, and at the end, we should be able to have some kind of consensus on this. I would now hand over the stage to Bahar Dutt. She is going to coordinate, and I want this to be done in a very, like you see the debates on TV, right? So everybody should get a chance, opportunities. So I will leave it to her to conduct this session, and at the end, she will summarize whatever happens, and then we will request Swamiji to give his words on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tare. You've made my work a lot easier. I'm going to try and keep this session as crisp as possible. I know we're also approaching lunchtime and energy levels are going to be a little bit slack. We want to keep this as participatory as possible. We have a very good panel on stage here, but I know there's a lot of good resources out here in the audience as well. So I'm going to keep sort of opening the floor up for discussion. So just keep your questions ready, and anything you want me to flag, we can do that as well. Why am I here? Who am I? I'm Bahar Dutt. I'm the environment editor with the news channel called CNN IBN. What is my authority for being here? Just very simply, we did this show called Saving the Ganga. गंगा को हमने फॉलो किया 6 महीने तक सोर्स से सी तक, and we did a 6-part series which we ran on our network. And many people have done this journey. I'm sure many people sitting here on the panel also have undertaken this journey. We trekked up to Gangotri Glacier, went right down to Sundarbans. And there's a gamut of issues which affect the river today. For us, perhaps the most shocking was, the fact that in the upper reaches in the Himalayas, the way development is happening right now, almost 70% of the river will go through tunnels for hydropower. So I'd be really glad if there are some hydropower companies in the audience. It would be very good to get their perspective as well as how do we balance the needs of nature and development, which Dr. Tare had outlined. And I'd like each of the panelists also to focus a little bit on this. We keep saying we're a developing nation. We have to develop. We need energy. So where do we get this energy from? And how do we do that without harming nature? And I'd like, for instance, Sejal, you're here, if you could focus a little bit on biodiversity. We tend to forget that the river is a living river, which has, it has dolphins and fish and all kinds of creatures here who can't talk like the rest of us. So, Sejal, you're going to be the voice today. I hope you can speak a little bit about that. I'm now going to request our first speaker, Mr. Rajendra Singh, the waterman of India. थोड़ा सा आप अपने काम के बारे में, if you can tell us a little bit, जो जो आपने इतना as they say, this was a path-breaking work which you did in Rajasthan, and how that is an example perhaps, इससे और जो नदियां हैं, water bodies हैं, how do we draw that, how do we extend the learnings from that to other water bodies, perhaps even to the Ganga, and how do we balance this constant tussle between environment and industrialization? Rajendra Singh ji.
मुझे लगता है कि ये जो विकास और नेचर के बीच हम विवाद देख रहे हैं, नेचर कभी भी विकास विरोधी नहीं होती। नेचर भी चाहती है विकास, लेकिन जब विकास विस्थापन से शुरू होकर विकृति और विनाश पे पहुंचाता है, तब वो नेचर खुद, जो हम सबको जीवित रखती है, पानी से, मिट्टी से, हवा से, वो खुद नेचर ही नष्ट हो जाती है। इसलिए ये बात बिल्कुल सही है कि जब हम भारतीय ज्ञानतंत्र से, जो भी भारतीय विजडम है, जो हिंदुस्तानी अपनी धरती को मां कहता है, अपनी गंगा को मां कहता है, उसकी दृष्टि में किस तरह का विकास हमें चाहिए, जब हम उसकी दृष्टि से विकास को देखते हैं, तब हमें पता चलता है कि प्रकृति और विकास के बीच में कोई युद्ध नहीं है। मैं जानता हूं कि कुछ लालची मन, जिसका कॉमर्शियल, सब चीजों में कॉमर्शियल दृष्टि होती है, उसके मन के अंदर का लालच जिस तरह का विकास शुरू करता है, उस विकास की एंट्री पॉइंट ही विस्थापन से होती है। सबसे पहले हमारे ज्ञान का विस्थापन होता है, फिर हमारी मिट्टी का विस्थापन होता है, फिर मिट्टी की नमी का विस्थापन होता है, फिर हरियाली का विस्थापन होता है। तो जब विकास, जब डेवलपमेंट स्टार्ट विद द डिस्प्लेसमेंट ऑफ द विजडम, डिस्प्लेसमेंट ऑफ द ग्रीनरी, डिस्प्लेसमेंट ऑफ द ह्यूमन काइंड एंड लाइफ, उसके बीच में युद्ध होता है। तो ये जो हमारा सेशन है, जिस सेशन में मुझे बहन ने कहा कि मैं अपना अनुभव बताऊं, मैं ऐसी जगह पे काम करता हूं जहां इस धरती का सबसे ज्यादा गुस्सा है। प्रकृति का एंगरनेस ऑफ द नेचर इन दिस कंट्री, सबसे ज्यादा एंगरनेस ऑफ द नेचर हमारी जगह पर है राजस्थान में। हमारे यहां बादल कभी कभी आते हैं, आपके बाकी हिस्सों में राजस्थान में हर साल बादल आते हैं, बारिश की बूंदों को लेके आते हैं, बरसते हैं, लेकिन हमारे यहां ऐसे नहीं बरसते। तो मैं उस जगह की कहानी आपको बताना चाहता हूं जहां नेचर की सबसे ज्यादा एंगरनेस है। आपके ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन ने 80 के दशक में हमारी सारी नदियों की हत्या कर दी थी। जो नदियां पेरेनियल थी, उसको डेवलपमेंट का जो एक बड़ा नमूना है इस कंट्री का, ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन, उस डेवलपमेंट के डिजास्टर ने मेरी नदियों की हत्या की थी, जिसको आप डेवलपमेंट कहते हैं, और उस डेवलपमेंट का नाम था ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन। उस ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन ने इरिगेशन को इंक्रीज करने के लिए बिना धरती का पेट समझे हुए सबसे पहले ओपन वेल, फिर ट्यूबवेल, फिर बोरवेल, फिर सबमर्सिबल पंप, हमारा सरफेस, सब सरफेस, अंडरग्राउंड, डीप अंडरग्राउंड सब ओवरड्राफ्ट हो गया। लोग उजड़ के इस दिल्ली शहर में, सूरत में, अहमदाबाद, मुंबई, सब गांव छोड़ के मजबूर हो गए, और उनकी जिंदगी में लाचारी थी, बेकारी थी, और गंगा से भी ज्यादा बीमारी थी उन लोगों की जिंदगी में। जितनी गंगा आज बीमार है, इससे ज्यादा मेरे लोग बीमार थे प्रदूषित पानी को पीकर, अपने को जिंदा रखकर। और औरतों की जिंदगी का कितना कष्ट था, 10 किलोमीटर दूर से पानी लेके आना। हमारे गांव की जवान औरत वही होती थी जो एक मटकी पानी ले आए। तो जो कष्ट था जीवन का, वो सब था। लेकिन इन लोगों ने अपने को पानीदार बनाने के लिए आईआईटी कानपुर से नहीं पूछा। आज सारी की सारी प्रेस्टिजियस यूनिवर्सिटी, आईआईटी ऐसी जगह है जहां सबसे ज्यादा पॉल्यूशन है। दिल्ली में राष्ट्रपति रहता है,